Hi, and welcome to the first part in this Power Platform ALM video series. So I'm going to try and keep each part as short and sweet as possible. And first off, we're just going to do another shout out if you didn't watch the intro video, that we basically need some environments that are ultimately, we're going to move our development artifacts within a solution from and through into. So for the sake of our demonstration, we're going with development, build, and then to test. But ultimately, we could then go on to production, or we could just go development, test, production. So the first thing we're going to want to do is come on over to dev.azure.com. You can sign up to a free version of this. And so if you've not already signed in, you would hit an initial landing page, which you can sign in or sign up to the free version. And at this level, we're within what we call our organization. So it's worth knowing that if you ever read some documentation that says you need to change organization settings, you get the organization settings option at the organization level. And then once within a project also has its own settings. Some settings within the organization settings do trickle down and the projects beneath inherit. So first we're going to set up a new project. We're going to call this ALM project. And initially, you may not have these two options. I showed in the intro video how you would make both options available by way of the organization settings. But essentially, we're going to stick with private just because one of the steps we'll carry out where we ask Microsoft for a free tier of running parallel jobs, which are actually going to run the kind of automated pieces that make up the pipelines. This is kind of, you need to give less information, whereas to go public, it would have to be cloud hosted and you'd have to have more of a legitimate reason for it. Of course, there are paid for options as well. We're going to go for version control Git, and we'll leave the work item process as basic. And then we'll create our project. Once the project's been created, let's just take a look at the project settings by clicking on the gear icon in the bottom left-hand corner. So here we've got basic information such as name. We've got the visibility option. If for whatever reason the repository we were tying this to was public, really you would want to make your project public too. Project administrators, and then the services that you're going to consume. The next thing you would want to do, or perhaps you might want to do this beforehand, is you're going to want to come to the marketplace and browse the marketplace. And you're going to want to search for Power Platform. We're going to want to locate the Power Platform build tools. Select Get It Free. And this is basically going to make available the various Power Platform tasks that we need to utilize within our pipelines. It'll ask you to select an Azure DevOps organization. But as you can see here, we're going to leave this process here because the extension is already installed. So if we come back again, and if we click into here, the next thing we're going to do is just ensure that our repository is initialized. So if we click on this repos icon here, you'll see that it gives us the option to initially initialize it, because when it's kind of hollow or empty, if you will, it doesn't kind of fully show or isn't available to commit to. But you could just add a README file, but or using VS Code, make use of these. or the option to clone in VS Code, which is very handy for working on a local copy. But we're just going to click on Initialize. And here we've got our basic README, which you can of course edit, and it does kind of walk you through the expectations of a README. But this is essentially going to be our main branch that we're going to commit our unpacked solution code to and repack back into importable solutions from the latest version of this code also. So this is going to kind of be the living and breathing code of the development efforts. And then this is also going to be where your latest developments get unpacked, committed, repacked, input and imported, ultimately to get a managed solution that's then going to be imported into your upstream environments, whereas your development one would remain unmanaged. So just do a recap. Like I say, I want to keep this short and sweet. We're in DevOps. We're in our organization. We've got a project. We've got our repository. And next, we'll be moving on to pipelines. Just to call out another setting, I'm just going to go to, if I can find it. So under pipelines, there's this concept of service connections. Now, you are going to want to have one of these per environment, basically, that you're going to move your development artifacts through to. So you probably could create these ahead of time. We'll talk about creating them as we go through the pipeline video. But if I go back just to show you what this looks like in a project where pipelines have been set up, if we come to project settings, service connection, you'll see that I've basically got a connection per environment. Thank you for watching.